George W. Bush had become very unpopular by the end of his time in office. Half of the country seemed determined to hate him from the beginning, and the other felt betrayed in the end. It was at this time that a new face arrived on the political scene, a man who promised change. For the first time in a long time, there seemed to be hope that politics could be different.
Change has come to America.
Voters turned out in record numbers, many for the first time. Barack Obama promised to remake America, but he was too late. America had already been remade.
I pledge myself to a new deal for the American people.
1 decade after the Great Depression began in 1929, unemployment was still at 20%.
We always think of the New Deal as something grander than what we're doing now, but that's not necessarily true.
I chunked aside some of my free market principles when I was told by chief economic advisors that the situation we were facing could be worse than the Great Depression.
$700 billion.
Today it's illegal for us to use gold and silver, even though the Constitution said only gold and silver can be legal tender.
But of course their idea of counterfeiting now is exactly what the Constitution was intended to prevent. They think that's lawful money.
You know, we're not any geniuses in economics or finance anyhow. We're representatives of the people.
It's the Congress's job under Article 1, Section 8 to coin money and set its value, not the Federal Reserve's.
Once you understand that the Federal Reserve System is not really an agency of the federal government, then it's possible to really understand what is going on in the news today when they say, well, Mr. Bernanke from the Federal Reserve System decided to create this much money and so forth. Why are they doing this? Well, because this helps the banks. I represent the banks. I'm employed by the banks. I have one mission here, ladies and gentlemen of America, and that's to promote the interests of the banks.
Nobody in this country realizes that cap and trade is a tax, and it's a great big one.
It's estimated that the last time that our per capita carbon footprint was as low as 3 tons a year was probably during the 1850s. So unless there's some miraculous changes in technology, there's no other solution.
Certainly Hollywood actors should not qualify for being peer reviewers of what's happening. But of course, if you poll every Hollywood actor, they're going to tell you, yes, man, environment, okay, that's what we are. We are green.
We saw basically the President of the United States fire the CEO of GM.
No, you are not permitted any longer to decide that you can be one of the uninsured. That is not part of your liberty anymore. You must buy the plan. And if you go to file your taxes and you haven't complied with this legal requirement, if you're not in one of those qualified plans, you will be fined thousands of dollars.
This is slavery. When you force people to do something they do not want to do.
It's hard to hold local people accountable if they can blame Uncle Sam for what they say they have to do. And then it's hard to hold Congress accountable, hard to hold a president accountable if he's claiming the power, if they're claiming the power to do everything.
The American founders knew that no man could ever rule another without becoming a tyrant. They knew there was no such thing as a benevolent king. Absolute power would indeed corrupt absolutely. The founders knew that tyranny was ultimately in the hearts of men. Men's freedoms must be protected from a big government.